I know, folks around the city are referring to me as mayor. I've told every one of them, not yet. Don't jinx me.
Not ready to claim victory. Fresno mayoral candidate Jerry Dyer looking to make history. He joins me exclusively in studio.
It was difficult. You're going up against a 40-year-long politician, someone that has built a tremendous amount of name ID. So we knew that we had an uphill battle.
Not throwing in the towel just yet. Congressional candidate Esmeralda Soria playing the waiting game as the numbers still trickle in. The Fresno City Council member joins me in studio as well. And our panel in place for the week. From the technical difficulties on Super Tuesday to the local races too close to call, the aftermath plays out here, all on KC24, Sunday Morning Matters.
Now, from KC24, your local election headquarters, with your host, Alexan Balakian. This is Sunday Morning Matters.
Fresh off Super Tuesday. Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Alexan Balakian. Please join the conversation at Real Alexan. Use the hashtag Sunday Morning Matters. Also along the way, Fresno County Clerk, Registrar of Voters, Brandy Orth, joins us in studio as well for a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of Super Tuesday. But we begin with the mayor's race that is too close to call for an outright winner. Don't forget, the winner needs 50 plus 1 vote to avoid a runoff in November. Former police chief Jerry Dyer continues to hold a sizable lead over Fresno County prosecutor Andrew Jans. But there's tens of thousands of votes that still need to be counted. Through the night on Super Tuesday, Dyer started out with that big lead at 59% of the vote, but that shrunk at the end of the night to 54%. Jans ended Super Tuesday with 36% of the vote. He believes he still's got a shot to force a runoff in November.
I think we did a good job of educating voters, letting them know that they can vote up until 8. So, there's no regrets there. We're just excited about where we've come so far, and we're just excited about where we're at.
So Jans holding out in hopes the tide in vote shifts in his favor. But this man, Jerry Dyer, still very much in command. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for coming in. You've been on a wave. Not a whole lot of sleep, I know. So we appreciate your time here. Any chance you're ready to claim victory?
No chance at all. I know that there's still 40,000 plus votes out, and it's important that we go through the process of those being validated and counted. But even though, folks around the city are referring to me as mayor, I've told every one of them, not yet. Don't jinx me. Let the process go through, and at some point in time, the county clerk will have everything validated, and then we can go forward.
There's a lot going on Super Tuesday. You know that. You had no sleep. Jans wanted to extend the closure of the polls an hour after there was some snafu with the voting machines there. What were you hearing at that time, and how did he call you and say, hey, let's work something out? Or, hey, you were saying, hey, it's 8 o'clock. That's the mandate.
Here's how I looked at it. The change in the law has done everything to allow for increased voting opportunities. People get the ballots 30 days in advance. Everyone gets one in the mail. All of them can mail those in, self-addressed, envelope, stamp. Plenty of opportunity to vote. And ballots were open for 11 days, the voting centers, so you could turn your ballots in. So people had plenty of opportunity to vote beyond that day. And I understand there's going to be glitches in every election. But just because there's a glitch in an election doesn't mean you change the process. And so I think the clerk did the right thing in just saying, we're going to close it at 8. People have had ample opportunity to vote. And even during that time, that 1 hour, you can do a provisional ballot.
Right, and Jans is still thinking about, and he's consulting with his lawyers on this, if they would move forward in a lawsuit. What do you make of that?
That's his prerogative. People can get attorneys, they can sue, they can do whatever. I just want the process as we know it today to move forward so that a decision can be made and then we can move forward as a city.
You had 59% early in the results on Super Tuesday. At the end of Super Tuesday, when all the precincts were counted, just for those votes on that particular day, you went down to 54%. Sure. So did that, is that cause for concern at all for you?
It wasn't for me. I was told early on that the early returns are going to come in high. I didn't think they'd be at 59%. Honestly, I was hoping for 56. And then I was told that they would probably drop around 4 points during the course of the night. And then once all the precincts were in, then we'd still have these other ballots to be counted, provisionals and then those that were mailed in late. So really everything went according to what I thought, with the exception of instead of coming in at hopeful 56%, we came in at 59%. And so, you know, now it's a matter of them going through the 40,000 ballots and seeing how they land. You know, there's been a consultant that said that there's a possibility that my numbers may go up as a result of the mail-ins, but if they go down to whatever percent, you know, we'll live with whatever it is. I can't control that.
Right. I know you can't. Nobody can really control, right?
Nope.
Obviously, but you know, since 1993, this is an interesting stat because when that's the year that the Fresno mayoral government form really began, because that's when the mayor really took over as the leader when it comes to government form in Fresno. There has never been a situation where a mayor has won outright, or a candidate has won outright the mayoral seat during a primary. It's always gone to a runoff.
Right.
This could be history for you. Is that what you're expecting?
That's what we hope for. There's never been a former police chief run for mayor of the city of Fresno either. And so, you know, that's what we're hoping for. We worked really, really hard, exceeded our campaign fundraising goals. I went to hundreds of events. I walked neighborhoods, did everything I knew to do in order to win the election in the primary. And so if that doesn't happen, then I'll continue to walk neighborhoods and we'll get it done in November.
You know, one of the guys that you backed for council seat, District 4, Nathan Alonso, he's trailing at this point to Tyler Maxwell.
Right.
If Maxwell takes that seat, that's virtually, I know it's not supposed to be party politics on the dais, but that's what it comes down to. You would have 4 Democrats, 2 Republicans. If you're the mayor, if this does not go to a runoff, there's a temperament on the council now. How do you feel about that? And there could be a lot of friction between you and council members already. We've heard from Miguel Arias on a number of occasions.
Well, you know, I'm not going to get caught up in the politics, and especially the partisan party politics. I'm going to do what's right for the city, and I'm going to work with whatever council members are willing to work with me, should I be fortunate enough to become the mayor. And we're going to get things done for the people in those neighborhoods. And if there's a council member that stands in the way of that, then I'll work around them and work with the council members that want to work with me, and then work with the residents. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to get the things done that need to be done for those people who live in the neighborhood. So I'm not going to get caught up in the politics. I've seen far too many politics already, quite frankly, and I didn't run to represent a party. I ran to represent the people, and I'm going to represent the people in those neighborhoods.
All right.
Okay.
Chief Jerry Dyer. I still call him Chief. You know, we do that now.
Yep.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, did panic ever set in? It was the first Super Tuesday performance for California. Did the Voters' Choice Act work, or did it cause a bigger headache? The woman in charge of the ballots in Fresno County, Brandy Orth, joins me next.